Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this is like a double session up till yourself off the Mad Monday. As relaxing as the 4 day sort of weekend was, there were a couple of things involved there that didn't make it a complete clean sweep of doing nothing over the weekend. But as exhausting as that, or relaxing as it was also exhausting from a sporting standpoint. I'm Jeff DeForest. That is one Mike Lubie Lubitz, young Luca making or weighing in the background there. He thought we were doing Dolphins crying towel. He would be perfect for Dolphins crying towel. But there's a reason to cry. I don't know. I mean, there was a lot going on a local front here in South Florida from where we originate the program. Plenty of stuff going on nationally. All the leagues are in action. At college football, many things came to shape. A lot of agonizing over the whole Lane Kiffin thing, which we'll get to here in just a few moments. But we'll start right here in our own backyard where the Miami Dolphins now have won, what, 3 in a row, Lubie, and are sitting there at 5-7. I told you way back a few weeks ago before all of this winning began, which they're now 4-2. I guess by NFL standards, so at the inconsistency of a lot of teams. I mean, some shockers yesterday. The Rams going down to the Carolina Panthers, who looked pathetic the previous week. I mean, absolutely abysmal the week before, the Carolina Panthers. And they somehow find a way to beat the Rams, who every time somebody anoints a new team to be number one overall in the power rankings, boom, they lose.
Yep.
And fall flat on their face. Buffalo rebounded after a couple of sorry efforts, so we don't know what to make of them. You had a lot of interesting developments all around the league, not the least of which, though, was right here. I don't know what it means. I mean, are we striving to achieve mediocrity, Luby? Are we rising to the level everybody or everything rises to the level of where it's supposed to wind up? Isn't that part of some kind of physics theory where, I don't know, it's the cream rises to the top? That's sort of a little bit esoteric, but or existential. I don't know. It's one of those two things. But does everybody rise to the level that they're meant to achieve? Is that what we're looking at in general in life, Luby? In other words, if you're going to be an average person, nothing wrong with that, because look, you're just one body out there in a sea of zillions. But if you were meant to be a 9-8 team, do you become a 9-8 team? Is that the way it goes?
Eventually, yeah. Or the more
Or
negative,
an 8-9 or 7-10?
regressing to the mean. Like usually, teams or players find their way to get back to where they belong and where they are.
And that's what's happening, it seems like, with this Miami Dolphin team. Bunch of crummy teams that they have on the schedule, including what has to be, and I've thought this all season long, that the New Orleans Saints, going into the year, they looked like they were absolutely finished. They had no solution at quarterback. They weren't able to do anything in the offseason that was going to work. Carr hadn't worked out for him, right? What was it, Carr that they had? Yeah, Carr. David Carr?
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, yeah. That didn't work out. We've seen a lot of teams floundering at the quarterback position, trying to figure things out. We saw so far this year, we've seen a few guys rise to the occasion, and only to make you think, well, it's only a matter of time before they revert back to being themselves. The Colts, who were on a roll, have now lost 2 in a row. But Miami has this nasty tendency, and you really have to start to wonder. I got any number of texts during the course of the game, Luby. Did Tua Tagovailoa forget how to play quarterback? Is there something wrong with this?
Annoying because I, up until this season, didn't fight with people when they talked about his abilities, because if you look at the stats, his abilities are there. It was the ability to stay healthy, which is still an ability, and it's something that he struggles with mightily. This year, he's staying healthy. He can't play well. Like he just goes through long stretches where he just looks lost. The turnovers are one thing, but also he's just missing passes. He's just late on passes. The stuff that he's good at is timing and getting rid of the ball quickly and accuracy, and you're seeing him miss that more than he ever has.
Some of that timing naturally diffused by the fact that they don't have Tyreek Hill in the lineup, which almost everything else was contingent upon. If your first read was going to be Tyreek Hill, that changes the progressions. But this doesn't seem like he really has. You're looking at a declining aptitude, it seems like, for playing a position. So here they are. They won. They've won 3 in a row. Mike McDaniel has salvaged some dignity, at least, from this job. Now, they are beating some crummy teams. They did beat the Buffalo Bills as part of that, which you can't take for granted. New Orleans should dominate, and they were dominating the ball game. There really didn't seem to be much of a threat at 16-0. and somehow they end up needing to defend the 2 point conversion, which didn't turn into 2 points for themselves, but needing to defend a 2 point conversion to stave off the Saints at home. Not exactly the kind of stuff. I mean, it wasn't the thrill in Manila this ball game either. Did you notice something else, Lubie, about this? I mean, you talk about losing your fan base. Never mind losing the locker room, Mike McDaniel. Were the fans disguised largely as empty seats for this ball game? It looked like a very sparse crowd. There were a lot of holes down there in the lower ball, and it wasn't just because I tuned in just after halftime or anything like that. Because I was watching the majority of this game and it looked empty. I mean, it really did. Kind of sparsely populated the crowd there. It almost looked like a Canes Virginia Tech game,
Yeah.
late in the season in a meaningless fashion. But we did have the Canes come through, so that was big. But what kind of problems? I mean, are the Dolphins actually facing now a problem where there's only a certain amount of the fan base here? So where are they gravitating to, Libby? Are they gravitating towards the Panthers now, 2 time champions, defending champions? I think the same cult people are still involved there for the most part early in the season. The Miami Heat had a interesting comeback against the Detroit Pistons. This was also the mark of a team that's maturing, Luby, where the Detroit Pistons had their 13-game winning streak snapped. They lose to Boston. They come south. They lose to Orlando. And then come on the second night of a back-to-back in Florida. Always a very difficult assignment and a real cream puff assignment for the Miami Heat on most occasions. And the fact that they rallied to win that game, is that not a sign that maybe there's a little bit of a turning point that they're experiencing right now? Your favorite team to talk about besides the Miami Heat, the Detroit Pistons. What do you think?
I think they're a very interesting team. They have a lot of talent. Their issue is that they're young, but they got a lot of experience last year pushing the Knicks to, did it go 6-7 game series that people did not expect it to go that long. And you've seen Cade Cunningham the last 2 to 3 years grow up in front of our eyes. And this year he's really ascended to be the number one player on a really good team. And even though Duncan Robinson doesn't do much, those are the kind of moves that help a young team at least mature, is bringing in veterans that have playoff and championship contending experience. And the Pistons are very interesting. And look, the Heat always struggle with the Pistons will be horrendous. The Heat will be really good, and the Heat will lose by 15. Like the Heat have this weird thing with the Pistons. So it makes sense that the Pistons would struggle, lose 2 in a row, struggle in that game, and find a way to win. But I will say for the Heat, this is a season that I was hoping for, but we didn't know if we'd get it. When you look at the East, there was a lot of question marks, and the Celtics have been all of that. The Cavs have been very questionable. The Knicks have been questionable. Like, it's a wide open conference, and I was like, dang, so for the Heat to be a 10th seed this year would be annoying. Well, they made the Norm Powell move, and the Norm Powell move totally changed the trajectory for this team, because if you look at the way they played and the way they're constructed, no one's really better than them in the East. Like, they fit in with what they've gotten from what they've gotten from Hawkins. You're just getting Hero back, and he's already come right in and contributed from day one. Powell's fit in without Hero, with Hero. The Fontenecchio kid's giving you the 3-point shooting that Robinson
really got better. Yeah,
wasn't giving you. Wiggins is giving you a consistent offensive presence with one of the better defenders in the league. Like, they're getting all the things that Bam has now can just do his job, because Ware's elite at rebounding, where Bam isn't that good at rebounding. So it's allowed Bam to not get the criticisms, because Ware is helping on the offensive side of the ball and with the rebounding. Like, if you look at their roster, what they're getting from player, and they have young players that they could trade for more veteran players as the season winds down. That Ja Morant move is just lingering there. Grizzlies aren't good. They're not happy. Ja would fit very well with this roster. Like, they're not the contender, but
you don't think that would radically change the dynamic of the team to have
it's probably why they're not running to make the move. But to me, I'm always a get talent and figure it out guy, especially in the NBA. Look, we've seen. And when they won, as much as people were like, well, Butler needs more talent. Well, does he? Like, when he's around more talent, he's not better. Like, that team sort of fit him. They allowed him to be the guy. They stayed out of the way. And they helped that people forget the performances they got from a lot of those guys in big moments, that just because they had more talent wouldn't mean they look at Kevin Durant. He's found a way to go to more talent at destinations. And it doesn't mean they're better teams. So you're not wrong with the chemistry thing. I just don't know if this team has the talent. Like, if you get in a series with the Cavs or a series with the Knicks, they have better players. I just don't know if they're a better team. Like, I think you can get a Ja Morant. You don't have to give up the sun, the moon, and the stars. he's still young. Like, it's just that he's had issues, and it's not like Miami's the best place to go,
Oh,
but the
great.
organization is. So
Very entertaining
I don't know.
player.
I think that he just fit in a very interesting spot in the Eastern Conference. The Dolphins, I don't know. They played themselves out of a good draft pick. I always say go for a playoff spot if you can. The AFC is weird. Like, they're 5-7.
5-7.
They're firmly in the hunt.
In the hunt. They're in that category. They're the bottom team in the hunt. So, look, it was unimpressive yesterday. Certainly underwhelming, that performance against the lowly New Orleans Saints, who are horrible. I mean, if you look at the Saints roster, top to bottom, our good friend Joe Casal was pointing this out in some of his social media posts. Huge Saints fan, follows everything. One of those guys, Lubie. You used to be like this with certain teams. I don't know if you still are. I was at one time. In fact, I tried to do it almost universally with as many teams as I could, where you knew almost everything about the roster. I thought it was part of the job. I don't know that you need to do that anymore because you can look a lot of stuff up instantaneously. How many times you hear a guy on the air going, "Yeah, that was that quarterback. Yeah, Herbert." You can just see the guy. Well, now you can watch the guy just clicking with his phone because most of this stuff is video streamed in some fashion. Even radio shows where you had the sanctimony of just being in the dark. It was just a voice coming out of a couple of speakers. Nobody knew what you looked like. Nobody knew what you felt like. I mean, I couldn't tell. And so that was a nice time to be able to do these kind of performances. You can't get away with it anymore. And then how many times you just see a guy who's on his cell phone the whole time? Oh yeah, that was 1927. The Babe had 60. Unbelievable. How little you have to invest in actually trying to commit some of this stuff to memory. But if you look at the Saints roster, which our friend Joe did, he says that, I mean, outside of Kamara, was Kamara injured? Is that what's going on? Suspended? I mean, what's the
I
deal
don't
with
know.
Alvin
He's
Kamara?
had issues for the last 2 to 3 years.
We don't even know
Other
the guy's
things.
status. He
Well,
wasn't.
no, I mean, he doesn't play. I don't even. Is he still on the Saints? I think he's been
I
long
don't know. Did he
gone.
get traded? Where is Alvin Kamara?
I don't think he's Alvin Kamara. I don't think he's on the Saints anymore. He's had issues for the last, is it 3-4 years? Just health and just other things. I don't know.
Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it was very strange. Andy is on the chat line here. That line was an indicator that something was up, was it not? Where you had actually people sending in money on the Saints. I thought the Dolphins were the biggest cinch in the league yesterday.
They should
Late
have been.
6 points,
They were leading the whole game.
Yeah.
They couldn't put it away. They do this thing now where they can't. I mean, maybe it's a long time coming, but they're just bad in the red zone. Like, they move the ball fine. But look, FSU is so funny. As bad as FSU is, they're actually like top 5 in yards in the country. They're top 10. Like, so what is that a symptom of? Yeah, you can move the ball, but when it counts, teams squish the red zone and you can't score. So you're a bad offense, and that's the Dolphins. Is they can't inside the red zone. They settle for field goals. So again, they were dominating. Like, they were doing whatever they want on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was 2 scores, and in one drive, the Saints made it a game.
I mean, with what? Do we even know this guy's name? I didn't get the sound on his
show. They were pronouncing it show in the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Schuff would be like a little strange, wouldn't it? Yeah, here's our quarterback, Daryl Schuff. Whatever the guy's name is. But still, I mean, from Spencer Rattler to this cat, you have nothing. And then name me another Saints player of any significance. Is there anybody on their roster that any other team would want to have on their roster? That's one way of looking at it. And your life and death to beat this team. I'm not sure that that's such a significant step forward. And Mike McDaniel was his typical. I mean, this guy really is morphing into Professor Irwin Corey. Is he not? He's starting to say like Norm Crosby, where he just misusing words. It's making no sense what this guy is saying after games, but they're sitting there at 5-7. Elsewhere, I mean, I love this when this happens. It happened in last night's game where you have to, with gambling involved now, you have to turn on your own team at some point. All right, so you're laying 6. In this case, this was just off a individual booking action I had, as I've been doing all along with my buddy Francesco, who, I mean, we probably bet at least 200 games on the season so far, college and pro games, at least 200. And we went into yesterday's Sunday action dead even. So this guy's picking all the games. I picked none of them. I have nothing to do with it. And I'm stunned many times at looking at just a pile of crap that this guy has given me. in terms of the teams that I have to root for to cover point spreads, both favorites and underdogs. And you're looking at it going, my God, I'm going to lose every game. And you end up 6-1, going completely against whatever it was that you thought. And that seems to transpire quite a bit. There's no way that you would have thought on the money line of taking the Carolina Panthers yesterday, was there, Lubie? Against the Los Angeles Rams, who had just ascended to this point where, wow, Matthew Stafford's the MVP, McVay's back on his game. These guys are rolling, number one power ranking team on just about everybody's list, and then boom, you lose to Carolina. I don't know that I've seen a more anemic, pathetic effort than Carolina had the previous week with Bryce Young in there. I mean, he literally looked like some guy that you brought in off a Pop Warner team, the quarterback, and you would have thought that they would have had no shot. So if you can anticipate that kind of stuff, you're in much better shape than most people who are just getting buried by the inconsistency and the relative parity that's out there being on display almost on a weekly basis in the National Football League. And now, Luby, because they've turned this into even more of a bizarre, unregulated system than pro sports has, where at least you have to trade for guys and give up something. Now you just wave some cash in the transfer portal, and boom, I got your best player.
100%. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen at all. But these reports of, well, this guy's going here. It's like he's still on a team.
It was very revealing when Dan Hurley was on 60 Minutes, and they were talking to him, and he said, and this was prior to, I guess, or sometime during the NCAA tournament. Would he be doing interviews during the NCAA tournament? Hurley might, because he's crazy. Remember, he was saying there are guys on my team right now that I know have already made a commitment to leave.
Yeah.
And they're still playing for this national championship.
Yes.
And it's insane. You don't have this in the pros. I mean, you have a guy that gets hassled after the game. Hey, you think you're going to Cleveland?
No, that was the thing that happened with the Dolphins with the whole Brady thing, where they got punished because he was on a team and they were trying to go behind back channels to get a guy that's already under contract.
Leave it to the Dolphins to even bungle the illegal crap that they're trying to do.
Yeah,
unbelievable at that period of time. But I mean, it's insane. So it's been wildly inconsistent. It's no surprise what goes on in college football now. I mean, even an astute handicapper like the professor was having, in terms of one loss percentage in games that he really liked, he was having a bad year by his or any other standard, and especially by his standard because the professor studies his stuff like all day long. Off season, whatever. You ever seen anybody that was more plugged into this stuff? I mean, maybe there are people somewhere, but you talk to the professor even more than I do about sports, and for him to be zamboozled by what's going on in college football, and to a lesser extent, I guess, I don't know, is it easier to read what happens in college basketball when you get a transfer?
Oh, I guess, yeah, I guess. It hasn't taken hold to the
one guy can make that much more impact.
Yeah. And that's who's there and who left. Like football, you lose track. There's just so much movement, so many teams, and there's so many players on each team that it's just hard to keep track of.
But I like this when this happens, and it happened last night because of the proliferation of gambling and the fact that I ended up getting roped in just when you thought you were out. They pull you back in. So I have Denver laying 6 points against the Washington Commanders on the road. Now, Denver is not blowing anybody out. All of their wins are by like a point or two, or so it seems. How they're sitting there at 10-2, Lubie, is remarkable. But there came a time in the game, the so-called old John Mayall thing, the turning point. Boom, 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 boom. Going back to California, a classic. Maybe one of the great albums of all time. And then, as I mentioned a few times, I had the distinction of being picked up hitchhiking back to the Syracuse campus by Mayall and his band in a white Impala, Lubie, a nondescript car for a blues rock legend. He was already legendary in England. This is in this had to be like 1970, somewhere in there. Incredible. But this was so wild last night where you ended up having to root against your own team. Because got to the turning point, the Mayall thing, and so now you're either going to win this game by 3, with Denver hanging on to win by a field goal, or and it couldn't have worked out. It looked like the Commanders were going to have the ball with Marcus Mariota, backup quarterback in there, who was having a decent night for himself because he does certain things well, but he doesn't do enough at the highest levels to be a quarterback that you have a tremendous amount of faith in. Is that a fair statement, Lubie, or is that just a bunch of garbage? because he'll take off and run. And look, he's got his heart and soul into it. How many years has Mariota been in the league? A long time to still be playing like that.
Like 11. He came out the Jameis year, so 2014. So like 11 years, I guess.
11 years. Wow, Jameis has been in the league 11 years. That's
2014
incredible.
was that year that they were in the playoffs together, and Oregon embarrassed FSU in the second half. And went
This
on
guy's Mickey Ward in there. I mean, he takes a beating. He's not afraid to go ahead and lay his body out there. You see the same thing out of Baker Mayfield, but Mariota is right there with him in that category. I don't know. Do you see? Tua is never in that category. Tua doesn't give you that. I mean, a hopeless situation. And this guy ran for first downs and tough ones several times. Josh Allen-esque he was last night. Anyway, it looked like they were going to get the ball needing 99 yards to go. The old Sonny Hirsch thing. 99 yards. You know who caught that pass from Gino Torretta? There's a trivia question for you. Who caught the 99-yard bomb from Gino Torretta on the famous Sonny Hirsch call?
Horace Copeland, right?
Very good, Lubie. I knew you would know it.
Yeah.
There's not much gets by you, Lubie. I mean, there really isn't. And you're not even a Canes fan. You would be inclined to watch.
I used to go to games back in the day. Like I remember that year we went to I think 2 games. The year where they had Gino Torretta was it Lamar Thomas and Horace Copeland, and like Kevin Williams was like a 3rd or 4th receiver on that team. Yes, I remember that. Michael Barrow, Armstead, Sapp. I remember that team. Young Sapp, I guess. I remember that team very well.
Yeah. Copeland was a guy that you didn't totally trust. I mean, not that he was Skeets Nehemiah, but big guy who would get open and occasionally would drop one right in his hands. But he managed to hang on to this one. Goes 99 yards. We'll never forget the call. But last night, so I thought Washington was going to have to go 99 yards. Turned out by a fraction of an inch. The return team, the defensive team there on the punt, special teams, ended up the guy's foot was in the end zone as he back tapped the ball. And so they get it at the 20. All right. Makeable situation to march the team for a field goal. They put up a stat that Mariota, surprisingly, I don't know. I mean, he was a starter for how many years, Lubie? This guy's probably started more than his share of games, Marcus Mariota. So it is like 15, a decent number of game-winning drives in the fourth quarter. 15.
I mean, I don't know if Tua has that, so I guess.
Tua ever had a game-winning? He must have had.
I'm sure they'll credit him with some because they've won games that they were down in the fourth quarter. So I'm sure he's done it, but he doesn't have a ton.
But this would be last minute, I guess. So it has to be certain considerations, like it's our last possession or whatever. Is that the stat that they were referencing, or because you can't give the guy the whole fourth quarter, can you? You score a touchdown early in the fourth quarter to take the lead. It's not like you had some dramatic Schwarzkopf, winning move there that you were leading the military. Let's go, guys. Let's go, men. Right into the fire there, as if you were pulling up on the beach and Saving Private Ryan. This one was prohibitive, though. I mean, they even get the field goal. It was going to have to be somewhat of an accomplishment by a quarterback that was playing well enough to make that happen, which Mariota was. He brings him into range where you thought they were going to score the touchdown. They end up getting the game-tying field goal. But what happens from a gambling standpoint, your only chance to win if you have Denver is for them to tie the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so now you're rooting for them to succeed. When you're a whole game, you've been sitting there going, no, drop it, fumble, turnover. Anything negative that can happen to the Commanders, you wanted it to happen. You knew they were hanging around, and that was dangerous in terms of laying the 6 points. Denver, like I said, I mean, if you track their scores, I guess, I don't know, there was an allusion, I think, at some point that I caught from the announcers where they said their last 2 games they've won by like a combined 3 points. And so here, throw in another one. Is that possibly true, that they won their last 2 games by a combined 3 points?
Yes, it's definitely possible.
1 plus 2 equals 3. Defense. No, I don't know. That's what I thought I heard, but I was like half out of it when I was listening to this thing. Because that game ended kind of late, didn't it, for a Sunday night game? Was that wrapping up sometime? Why did that game take so long? Was somebody hurt for like 45 minutes? I don't think so.
Into this game.
Oh, it was overtime. Yeah,
went into overtime, and they both scored in the 20s. So they probably had long, sustained drives.
How screwed can you get, though? I mean, think about it. This is what happens. You need a series of miracles. You're going highlight. Series of miracles. You need the 2 to beat the 3 to beat the 5, the 5 to rally 6 points, to get to the 8, who then goes out the door and runs the table. Okay, that's likely to happen. It was kind of like my son yesterday had a bunch of prop bets, And there you go, Lubie. If you wanted to find the essence of why these betting operations are so wildly successful, what is your logic on that? It's only $10.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But you do it every day. My friends do it every day,
Guys are
multiple
definitely
times a
going
day.
broke doing this. It's only $10. Now that is the worst, weakest mental position you could possibly take in gambling, isn't it? I mean, if you're super flush, if you keep thinking it's only $10, then what happens though is you hit one for $10 and you realize if you had put 100 on it, you would have picked up like 50 dimes or some ridiculous amount of money. But he needed a series of conditions that were just as absurd as what was going on with the Denver Broncos, which we're going to get to. We'll finish. We'll finish the story we started 30 minutes ago in a moment, Libby. We'll take a short break here. Come back with more. Lots more on the slate today too. A lot of questions to be answered, and including we do have to. Do we have to explore this Lane Kiffin thing from some kind
I
of
mean, we can talk. We should talk about it. It
ethical
definitely.
standards? I don't know that it.
I don't know about ethical, whatever. I don't care. I mean, I think it's weird. Like in the middle of the, don't you get through the playoffs? Like that's a little weird. But I guess if you're
And you
moving
have these
on,
days though, if you're going to
signing
take
days
over
this
a
week.
program,
Signing
right?
day, I think, is this week. So like, you literally can't. They've made it,
That's signing day. The portal opens up before this playoff would have been over.
and he's been big with the portal. So yeah, you sort of have to move. And he, I guess, wanted to stay with Ole Miss and coach. But how would you do that then? How would you coach them through the playoffs and then also get LC? The whole calendar.
There's no good way to handle the situation.
Calendar screwed up. I mean, people have said they need to move the signing day. That's why it was in February, but they wanted to move it up to get them a head start, and that backfired because everything they do backfires. I mean, they need to put something in. If you want to put it between the that's the problem too. If you wait till after the championship games now, like January 19th.
Yeah.
So like you can't, if you do it in January, you're still involving teams that are in the playoffs / championship.
Yeah. Where are you going to school?
It's a mess. It's a total mess, and I don't know how they fix it, to be honest.
It looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I always love the sanctimony of these former coaches who are calling this guy a rat for leaving, which I'm sure many of them. I mean, has Nick Saban talked about the Lane Kiffin situation? And he's actually a confidant of Lane Kiffin, surprisingly so.
As shocking as that is.
It was not well known because it seemed like they left on acrimonious terms. That Nick was pissed that he took the Florida Atlantic job. All of a sudden, I mean, I don't know how much of this is true, but it sounds logical, like it might be, by reporting that's been done that he was so distracted then while Alabama was going for its championship. And here he's taking like the FAU job. It's not like he's going to Georgia. So how much can Nick Saban despise the guy for taking this job and saying, hey, I think it's my only shot to get back into being a head coach, which, look, did it turn out well for him? 6 years at Ole Miss, he could have bombed also just as easily. It's not like Ole Miss was any big power, right? Holy Archie Manning. What are we talking about here? Ole Miss. Get out of here. Also ran consideration. But everybody's up in arms about this thing. Where they're like, what a lousy MF.
The money they gave, look, Ole Miss was going to give him some more money. Look,
if you have to stay there for life, I don't know. It's a free country.
What he did at Ole Miss was interesting. 3 straight 10-win seasons. They are going to be a playoff team. So that's all you need. But we've seen LSU win multiple titles, and Ole Miss has never won a title. So
is he likely to win a title at LSU much more so than Ole Miss? You would have. It
just feels like it. Yes, it feels like the way recruiting works, the way they own Louisiana, the way they've been good nationally. It's just different than.
Oh, the governor is on their side, for God's sake. He's making coaching decisions. And you think college football is all on the level. Tony was talking about scholarships and the virtue of giving a kid an education. All right, how far away are we from that? You know what's funny? I actually thought Luca's sort of participation was the theme music for the break.
No, I'm playing music.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:36.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe B.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game, honestly. And that is how you lose the game. You're moving the ball down the field. You're 1st and 10, and then you find yourself at 2nd and 20. That was critical.
Buenos dias. The cafecito is piping hot. Why not enjoy it with Defo and Lubie? It's now time for the Defo Show.
I mean, to be disparaging to blonde bimbos, but you would expect that kind of explanation from some blonde bimbo that was auditioning for the very. That's not even fair to say, of course, because the lovely and talented one, Leslie Visser, obviously was well versed and very polished when she was first on the scene there as a female reporter. So maybe I ought to throw that imagery out. But that's the kind of stuff, explanation you would expect out of out of Luca Panici-Lubitz right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what's wrong with the Dolphins' offense? Should they run the ball more, Luca? Yeah, absolutely. No, that was some strange stuff. I love the way Tony Segreto. A lot of people don't listen during the breaks, and I've heard this commercial now 80,000 times. Tony Segreto for Texas Roadhouse restaurants, and he's been able to sell bread like no other guy.
100%. Yes.
I don't know. The people, it's great when they have a great bread service. I always like that. It was one of my favorite things about restaurants. There are many restaurants that have been known for that. Beverly Hills Cafe was one, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's eat South Florida. What does everybody want to know? Hey, where can I get some rolls like that? You can't. It's gone.
Yeah.
Kaputski, man. Just like your desire to go to a corner store and get a slice of New York pizza, it's not happening down here. Readjust your thinking. That's what you need to do. But nobody shrugs off a low-carb diet like Tony does in that commercial.
100%.
Or he says, well, if you're looking for a low-carb diet, forget about it, man. You're in the wrong thing.
Exactly.
He must be. You think he takes a few of those rolls with him when he leaves the restaurant?
I don't think he does, but I would. I do whenever I go.
All right, a bunch of other stuff. I mean, there was a jockey revolt yesterday. I don't know if you caught that, Lubie. I'm watching the first race. I had a mind bet working after getting crushed on Saturday, and I returned to what I thought was going to be a seat of glory. We came up completely empty. I mean, just no gas in the tank whatsoever, and you realize we're in the middle of effing nowhere. Not going to get out of this one easily. But, yeah, after the first race, some kind of dispute. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, geez, I got this. I would have hit the pick 5 that I handicapped on the throne out of the New York Post in the morning without an extensive amount of information. And it's incredible how many times when you're not in action, you hit those sort of things.
Yeah, of course.
The minute you bet your own money, whoosh, right out the door. But, I mean, it was kind of weird. All of a sudden, the horses are just walking around for the second race. They ran a race, and then the jockey said, you guys are assholes. We're not working for you anymore. And they walked out. So that was that.
Hey, that's interesting.
I don't know. We'll see if that gets resolved. It was over like the assistant clerk of scales, who I didn't even know the clerk of scales had an assistant. It's one of those things. I mean, what is the clerk of scales doing? He's sitting there going, 118? Yeah. Okay, Dettori. You can go out there. It's like you're sitting at a Don King weigh-in over and over again. I don't know that I've ever seen a guy where there was some cause for alarm that the weight was off. I think those scales are what? Like, literally, they have to be like the scales that you have at some of these boxing weigh-ins where you never see the scale back in the day.
Yeah.
I like when they used to, What do you think of those ones in the doctor's office? Do they still have those where they balance the thing? I always like those.
100%. But it's
Are they more accurate, Lubie, or is that
I
bull?
never trust them, so I don't know. The doctors I think still use them. I think we for Luca. I think they
Yeah.
have it sitting there. I think they put him on the
For a
digital.
baby, yeah, I could see
there.
that. It's like weighing a dozen
They
bagels.
have it there. Like when we used to go to the doctor with Shirley, they would use something sort of like that. Like, yeah, I don't know. I always thought that was weird. I'm like, we have digital scales. Like,
You would think too that at any supermarket, Publix being, of course, the most prominent here in South Florida, that the guy who calibrates that giant scale when you walk in would have that thing at least 5 pounds lower than the actual truth.
it's never
Because
right.
why would you want to walk in? People weigh themselves when they walk in. They don't weigh themselves when they walk out. Have you noticed
No.
that?
Yes, always.
Nobody's walking out of the store. You weigh yourself, you walk in, and you're in shock. Like, how could I weigh that much? What can I possibly buy to eat? I should never eat again. Which a
Exactly.
lot of people might be saying right now. Now, how are you feeling about this? Because it is December 1st, and isn't this where you start to actually think about conceptually embracing the resolutions you made last year,
Oh, good.
all the stuff you were going to do this year, and you're thinking, I got 1 month to go.
Yeah, exactly. The clock's ticking.
Not any time to have any discipline either. Because you got a lot of days off that you otherwise wouldn't have. A lot of it centers around food. That's for sure, and it certainly did center around the sporting world over the weekend. All right, well, what struck your fancy the most? I mean, you had Florida State. That was ugliness. I don't know that really mattered to anybody, except it's just further evidence that. And Jesse's lovely wife Kelly, a huge Florida State fan, having gone to Florida State, like many of the people in our circle. Have some affiliation to this joint, other than just a general respect for Bobby Bowden when he was coaching. He always made you feel good. That was the thing about that. How hard is that of a characteristic? How come more people don't have that same characteristic, Libby? Especially people in high positions where it might actually mean something to somebody. Like I feel like my life was enhanced because Bobby Bowden was nice to me.
Yeah.
That kind of guy. I mean, you don't get that from too many guys, right? Do you
No.
get that feeling from Nick Saban ever? No.
Well, no, because they don't want to waste the time. It takes more time to be nice. It's easier to be mean. So they're just, I don't care about you. It's not going to affect my job. So I'm going to keep moving. And Bobby and Howard came from the school of, we have programs no one knows exist. So we need to sell them. So he was always and I didn't say used car salesman. I said the salesman, and he was one of the better salesmen ever. He put FSU on the map, and he never lost the mentality. He wasn't always the great coach he was in the 80s, but he always had the mentality of treat everyone the same. You never know who they are, or what they could do for you or your program, or good or bad. And he never stopped that. Like, other coaches get high on their horse, and they're worried about their job and their livelihood, and they don't worry about how they present themselves. And Bobby never forgot that. Bobby was always like that. Whoever you were, he treated you the same as he treated anyone else.
Well, he was great too in a lot of aspects. I mean, think about all the different things he was involved in. He pioneered the path there for recognition for these kind of schools, especially deep southeast in the state of Florida, where Schnelly followed the same path. You start taking on some heavyweights on the road, and you're scheduling games that everybody thinks, what is this guy, flat out of his mind? He's got Notre Dame and then Ohio State. And then you would go on the road and beat some of these teams. And then after a while, nobody wanted to play you anymore when the schedule was more dependent on playing people of caliber to have a chance to win the national championship. You think it was more so then than it is now? Because certainly there were their share of clubbing of SEALs type of game schedule. But he pioneered that path for Schnelly. Schnelly gave him credit for it, and it worked for him. Of course, he suffered the... cruel slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune with those right and left.
Field goals, yep.
Tough, man. I mean, that's 2 titles taken away. They didn't make that much. I don't know how much cheating was he doing, Bobby Bowden, because they did subtract like 17 wins from his resume, which now that he's dead, really probably doesn't matter too much.
I mean, that was dumb, because it was about an online scandal where there was barely any football players involved. It was mostly baseball players. It was still, to this day, for all the stuff that could have gone behind the scenes, it was one of the dumbest things that he got in trouble for. Like,
my favorite, though, about the characteristic, of course, well, 2 things. He had the iron cast stomach, so he could go in there and he could literally gargle with Mama's meatloaf while the kid was signing the letter of intent. Just sit there and go, "Hey, Grandma, you mind if I have another slice of that wonderful meatloaf you're making?" You're like, "Wow, this guy's got that Southern charm," and it worked because he was able to get all of these guys from these areas where I don't know. Schnelly was the same way. He would like venture into Liberty City
100%.
with the pipe, and you'd be literally the only white guy within an 8-mile radius. Had no problem. Hey, listen, Pops, you want to come in here? No sweat. But the fact that he could remember where every hometown was, I don't know. Do you think he had that on a sign, Bowden, on the Bobby Bowden show?
I'm sure at some point, yes. But early in his
Would
early
throw
days,
any name at him. Yeah, little Johnny
Oh.
Jones.
I mean, we met coaches. Coaches' memories are ridiculous. Like, it's just insane the stuff they remember to the nth degree. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure most of his career that was true. Now in the older days, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, Bobby was just different, and now it's different because teams regret scheduling good teams. They're like,
Yes.
even with the playoffs, that's the funny. The playoffs show, okay, well, there's more teams, so you can afford to lose here and there. But now that 12th spot is like gold.
So what was resolved in college football? Ohio State got its win over Michigan.
Yes.
Texas A&M was beaten by
Muddy things up a
Sarkisian,
little.
who's been choking in these games, and there was a sign there, an early sign from the gods of gambling that maybe they weren't going to make it all the way through the season undefeated. Of course, I picked them to win, and was more than willing to lay 2 and a hook. And they looked like a complete fraud. I mean, you talk about Fugazi. That was Texas A&M in this game. Getting beaten by a Texas team that was very underwhelming this year after being preseason ranked number 1. And you had to wonder if Sarkisian was really long for the job because there's not a lot of patience there, Lubie. Not a lot of patience. You could be great, 3 years in a row, have 1 4-loss season, and the next thing you know, they're calling for your head.
100%.
This guy from Tulane is interesting, huh? He got the Florida Gator job, and I guess that was I don't want to call it sloppy seconds. I don't want to make this kind of
worse than that. I mean, he was probably their 4th or 5th guy. Some wrong.
Yeah, no relation to Pat. Did a good job there at Tulane. They always seem to be prominently mentioned. So without knowing a ton about him and without being able to name you a single Tulane player, I'm going to tell you that this guy was a good coach. And no, I mean, from everything that you can gather, Lubie, do you go by a consensus of opinion sometime? I mean, naturally, it's much better if you're able to legitimately, based on things that you've seen or heard or witnessed, to form your own opinion about this stuff. But the general consensus seemed to be that this guy is like a really good coach. And so that the Gators may have benefited because they didn't get that rat bastard, Lane Kiffin, who was being crucified by other coaches in the industry. Shame on you guys for being so hypocritical. Because what do you do, Lubie? The problem isn't that the coach is unscrupulous, is it? I mean, that may be a small part of it. That he's essentially saying, okay, guys, we're going to live and die together. We're going to battle together. Yeah. The whole military thing. And then you just like look at him and go, yeah, but guess what? I got $100 million from these other cats. And even though this school was willing to match it, not being able to afford anything close to this for a head coach, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the other job there because for my benefit, it seems like I would have a better chance of actually winning a championship, which I haven't done in my career. Now, the other side of that, though, for all these sanctimonious proclamations that were being made about Lane Kiffin, and the only thing we know of Lane Kiffin is through Paul Castronovo, who passed along to us that Lane Kiffin was a fan of our show when he was coaching at FAU. Now, we used to, and we had him on a couple of times, didn't we, Lubie? We had him on a couple of interviews. I don't remember if he was fully, I mean, coaches should be sharp in the morning, should they not?
He wasn't. He was one of the rare guys that in the morning, because we had him on. I remember one time we had him on later in the morning, and he was very different than when we had him on early in the morning.
Yeah. The worst case of that, besides the comedians that we had on a couple of times, was, and this was prior to me working with you, Lubie, was when we had an early morning interview that the lovely and talented one had arranged with what we thought was going to be a very erudite and bright and funny Bob Huggins. And Huggins, I mean, rumors were swirling that Huggins might like to take a nip every now and then. And this guy sounded like he had just come in from an all-night bender. Like, what? That was kind of wild. Kiffin was in that same category, though, wasn't he? Where you thought, wow, this guy's out of it. But the fact that we heard through Castronova that he actually liked our show, I immediately took a liking to this guy. I don't know about you, Libby. Now, I'm not defending him because of that, because I don't know that you can. I mean, why are you pointing a finger at this guy who also got fired on the tarmac? They didn't let him on the team bus. I mean, this was as ugly as the Panthers firing of their head coach, where Gerard Gallant gets left in a snowdrift in Saskatchewan in weather that not even a moose would want to have to experience, and they throw his bag out the window. And I think it was Yager. I said,
Yes, Jerry. You were like, "Hey, Jerry,
Jerry, here's your stuff." This happened to Lane Kiffin also. I mean, so look, what was the guy not going to be making any money if he didn't take this job? They said they would match any offer. Please just stay. But one of the circumstances just they're not favorable to doing the right thing, are they? Even if you want to. And you can understand the other side of that. Look, we don't want this guy around. So he immediately starts saying, well, I'm going to take all these coaches with me too. And players. That's kind of wild, though. I mean, talk about the timing. Something needs to be done about that situation so that a coach can actually finish out the season, right?
Look, they should move it. Look, they had it in February. They should never mess with it. Like they try to get a jump on it, and all it's done is make things. You have kids who are in the playoffs, putting their names in the portal. You have kids. Yeah. It's not just a bowl game thing anymore. It's actual playoff teams having players because the portal opens up, and you want to get your next spot. Teams go and get players, and they only have room for so many. Like,
yeah. And you don't have a 12-year career like you might in the NFL.
No. Look, and they've now, again, the COVID stuff's done, so you have 5 years. Players have petitioned. So far, no one's won to get more than 5 years of eligibility. So that some of these kids, yeah, they'll go on and make money in the NFL, but not all of them. And a lot of them will make a lot more in college than in the NFL, even if they have NFL potential. Like, so I understand there's a lot of question marks. It should be well after the season ends. Again, you're going to do the signing day before the conference championships, like, or right at, like, that's just, I don't know. The whole calendar's awkward. It's a mess. And yes, Lane Kiffin is the problem with Kiffin is he's one of those guys that rails against other coaches that do weird things. And then he himself will do those weird things. And that's the thing that gets people pissed off is not only like coaches are the first people to question transfers and question NIL. And then they use the transfers and they use NIL. So.
Yeah, Nick was the same way. I mean, the sanctimonious one himself, Mr. Commercials, same way. I don't know how any of these coaches. Bill Cowher was out there. He looked like he was ready to just go ahead and bite off Lane Kiffin's ear. Like it would have been a Tyson Holyfield situation if I had been anywhere near him. And you know how Cowher is. It always looks like snot's coming out of his nose and phlegm's coming out of his mouth. Doesn't it? I mean, he's just one of those guys that looks like that. And they're like, and he's railing away against Lane Kiffin. What a joke this is, and how there's no loyalty and all of this other BS. All right, Bill, we know you stayed at Pittsburgh forever. That was great. But also connected and rumored to every other job, which do you ever see Cowher stand up saying, you know, I've been out of this for 20 years and I was declining when I was at the end of my run there in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. So, no, I'm not a candidate for this job. No, you never see it because he loves it. That he's under consideration. I don't know. Can you begrudge a guy for being so hot in demand that people are willing to do anything? I mean, the state of Louisiana, think about this, Louie, as also pointed out by the great Joe Casale. I want to give him credit. I mean, they can't fund like the most necessary of programs to protect their people, but they have $100 million for a new coach and $50 million for an old coach. And the governor is in charge of what's going on with this stuff.
I mean, the governor being involved is utterly weird, atrocious, scary. But yes, it is. Look, again, I am on both sides of this because when it comes to social issues, think spending this much money on football is dumb. I admit that. I am also a fan of FSU and pissed that they're not spending $60 million to have him go away. It's not even going toward anything. It's just to have the guy go away. So I'm on both sides of this. It is what it is. I mean, if people who have earned this money want to spend it on football programs, I guess I'd rather them spend it to solve global warming and cancer and the hunger crisis. I would. irrational thinking. In irrational fan thinking, I'm pissed that FSU's bringing back Norvell. So
Yeah. I mean, a pigeon takes a crap on Bourbon Street, and the street is flooded for the rest of the day.
yeah.
So they have problems there that probably could use addressing. A lot of poverty, a lot of people not necessarily living their best lives. And yeah, you got $150 million for a football coach, and that's your big area of concern. How insane is that? I was listening last night. I thought I caught. What's wrong with Mile High Stadium? Is it some old decrepit joint like the Orange Bowl?
I mean, it's not been around a long time, I guess, now, but haven't they done stuff over the years to it?
I mean, they got a picture of the owners of the Denver Broncos coming from the box there. And, I'll have to give them credit. They seem like very nice people, or at least that came across that way in the short visual that I saw. And they're talking about, this is great. The city's going to put together their plans for a new stadium. I'm thinking, I'm sure that's just what they need. Is that ever the case? I would say to the Orange Bowl, the place was a dump. And in the case of Miami, I mean, let's not forget, Joe Robbie buried himself in his family fortune by putting that stadium together with his own capital instead of having to impose on the taxpayer. And so a guy who was universally despised as an owner for being a cheap whatever, frugal, I guess would be the way to describe it.
Yes.
Didn't seem like an overly bad guy, Joe Robbie. Wasn't the most friendly, gracious, or ingratiating of people, but I don't remember him being like a bad guy. Do you, Joe Robbie?
I mean, I was young.
Yeah.
I heard the stories of he was cheap, but he also built his own stadium. So in retrospect,
what did he see too? He was a visionary. He saw soccer being played there.
Yeah. And Stephen Ross benefited from Joe Robbie. Huizenga did well. Stephen Ross did even better because of what Joe Robbie, where he put it, where there's a ton of land around it, and the fact that it actually does have access with all the highways.
Yeah,
it's very easy to get in and out of. Yes, Joe Robbie set the stage for Stephen Ross to make a lot of money.
Look where it is. Yeah, I mean, it's at a crossroads, literally.
Yes, the Golden Glades is like.
No wonder Garfunkel keeps his job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because he's always sitting there in a box next to Stephen Ross, and he seems to be sitting there with a
he's never concerned.
Strong sense of confidence, doesn't he?
He's never concerned.
It'll be 37-3 Arizona, and this guy's sitting there with a very sedate look on his face. All right, a lot of good stuff over the weekend. So the Canes still in a hunt there.
I will say, look, I was very wrong. I thought this would be the kind of game, and look, I think if the kid doesn't overthrow that ball and Pitt gets that touchdown early in the game, they go up 14-10. I think maybe a different game. The kid overthrew it. Miami went down and scored twice. Scored going into halftime and out of halftime. Something they never do under Cristobal. They actually push it. That's the thing. They actually have to try thing because all the other teams have better resumes to me than they do, and have played better football than they have. Has had Cristobal have to do things he's never done, like use timeouts before a half. Try and push it. Try and actually score a lot. So you've actually seen them the last few weeks pull away from teams. And then this week, they didn't mess around at all. This was their best game from start to finish for every phase than they had the entire year. Sadly for them, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs because they're not playing for, let alone winning.
Well, would they beat either of these teams, though? I haven't seen.
Probably yes. At this point, yes. I would say they would beat Duke and Virginia. I would say they
probably
would.
Make them the favorite against both teams, wouldn't you?
As a Florida State fan, though, as you said it, for years, by this time of the year, Florida State was probably the best team in the country every year. But they had a stupid-ass loss, and it was only two teams that could win a title, or they did split titles. So every year, Florida State would find their way outside of a chance to play for a championship.
Yeah.
Again, playoffs are here. Florida State was undefeated, won their conference, and was like, so I don't have any sympathy.
We all know that was the biggest.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think this UM's resume is any better than any of the. I think what I think, and people won't like it, is the Big 12 should get 2 teams in. The SEC should get 5 teams in, and I don't think Notre Dame or Miami should be in either. Like, I don't think either should be in. I think all those teams are better teams than Notre Dame and Miami.
You got to put that on TikTok, man. You'll get a zillion.
I said it on Twitter. No one said anything.
No one
look, BYU is a one-loss team right now, and if they lose the second game, it'll be to a top 5 Texas Tech in a conference championship game. Like, for them to get left out, I think BYU getting left out is way worse than Miami or Notre Dame getting left out.
It's funny how sports fans with these debates about who's getting hosed which are universal in all of sports. You could have looked at a couple of calls in the game last night, and it did seem like, all throughout the NFL, there were a lot of calls that you look at and you just go, that's atrocious that this guy missed that. Or that they are imposing the pass interference definitely needs to at least have one review.
It's annoying because they tried to make it better, and then it got
Yeah.
out of hand because guys were just reviewing pass interference left and right.
There's no consistency to the call. There's just no consistency.
But yeah, to go the other way and not do it at all, and then you just watch guys have really bad pass interference.
I mean, you're watching guys getting grabbed, by two different guys as they're crossing the goal line on a slant pattern. And holy Malcolm Butler, the other team comes up with the ball. No call. Look, officials aren't going to be able to get every call in a pristine fashion correct every time. We know that, especially subjective calls. But some consistency in the way that they're administrated. Is there a head of officials, or do they just kind of run their own shop, these guys?
I mean, they used to.
Is Ed Hockley still with us? I don't know. Is he like the head of
alive? I don't know.
Has the same body.
Yes.
It's a weird thing, man. You think Luca's going to have the same body that you have?
I don't know.
Hockley's son has like these giant arms, man. Like you could just squeeze your head like it was a zit and it would implode. Oh, man. All right, so we're winners here. We had some wins. We had some losses all around. Still have the debate going. Lane Kiffin, is he a rat or is he not? That was it took up too much conversation. What are we really looking at here? We're looking at a guy that's changing jobs as a football coach, for God's sake.
And he's fine, coach. Look, he's a guy
when Coach Mousehart went from Mepham High School to JFK, there wasn't this kind of controversy.
He's a little more high profile.
I think the school board just assigned him there because he lived closer. I don't know.
I don't know if he's a rat. I think he's a coach, and he got offered a lot of money for a program that's had a lot more success than the program he's at already. Yeah. I think it's sort of dumb because Ole Miss would never have gotten rid of him. And LSU, we've seen a guy win a title and 2 years later be fired. So, but that area, it does win more. Like that, it does. So I get
he's in a better spot to have a chance at the top. All right, well, let young Luca go back to what he was doing, man, which obviously he's a little unsettled today. That's okay, because it was a crazy Monday. It was great to be with you guys all morning long. We'll do it again tomorrow. And for Mike Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks so much for being with us. Did we leave out? Yeah, we left out just about everything. So that's par for the course. Messi, he did it, man. He didn't score any goals, did he? Did he break his string of like 100 straight games with at least 2 goals in MLS play while he's playing in these minor leagues? And I don't mean to diminish this. Is this a great accomplishment, Lubie, or did we just ignore
they win it all? I don't even know. They won it. They won the title.
No, they're in a title game. They beat.
Okay.
Because what's weird was was there a round robin before this, and then they got to the elimination round? Don't they do that kind of crap in soccer?
I think so. I think there's a first round that's like that, and
I don't mind the first round robin in certain situations. I think it's kind of interesting. It's like the modified Stableford scoring system in golf, where you're like, what? What do you mean it's worth 3 points? It's the higher score wins? You got to be kidding me. Anything to mess with the system. But it was a wild weekend all the way around, and we did get Lubie was hammering Miami, saying Pittsburgh was the team. I think some steam came in on them. Weather was cold. It was the kind of circumstance they lose in. I don't even know that you could say that Mario Cristobal was out-coached in this game in any phase of the game.
No, they were the better team in every phase. Their defense played really well. Their offense played well. The special teams played well. They played well from beginning to end in every phase. Look, that's why I don't feel bad going after teams, because I'll give teams credit when it's due. It doesn't change my opinion of if they're a playoff team. They still have 2 losses, and there's still 12 teams that I think belong more than them. And I don't think Notre Dame is either. I think Notre Dame's played better football, but people are right. Like, their schedule is sort of weak. Like it is. Yeah. Their best game is a game that is the 2 games they lost. So they don't have a good win. They don't have USC is their best win. I think USC has 3 losses themselves. So if Notre Dame got left out, that's why I think that debate's down. I don't think either.
I eliminate them both. I'm with you, Louie. Is that Tulane coach staying at Tulane? Aren't they in the postseason? At least
as of now, they are. I mean, I don't know if it's over
game or something. They have to play something. So is he also being completely disparaged and trashed for his lack of loyalty for taking the Florida job, which you would have to say is a step forward from Tulane? as I mean, a nice place to distinguish yourself. But we shall see. Is this Al Golden all over again? I mean, where the F is Bowling Green, Libby? All right, we got to get out of here. Thanks so much for being with us. Do it again tomorrow. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll catch you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
I think we left out a lot. It's 9:07.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.